Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Chelsea announced their Champions League squad and it's in line with the UEFA settlement. Joao Pedro talks about his relationship with Cole Palmer, the chances of winning the Ballon d'Or and Chelsea's chances of winning the Premier League. Not only that, but we found out more details regarding Andrey Santos' proposed move to Saudi Arabia and Manchester United want Romeo Lavia. Now, of course, I begin my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. If you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. You can also use the hype button, which is a new YouTube feature which helps pushes these videos out to a bigger audience. Kicking things off with something nice and wholesome, Ben Chilwell posted a farewell video on Instagram to the Chelsea fans, and honestly, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. That is the way that you leave a football club. This is what the caption said and what he said along in the video as well. Chelsea fans, firstly, thank you. We won the Champions League together, made a bond like I've never have imagined, and I met brothers for life on and off the pitch here. You helped me through tough times, injuries, personal life, and gave me the best moments of my life. I'll never be able to thank you guys enough. Looking forward to showing everyone my best. See you soon, Chile. This guy is an absolute professional, and I feel like, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I do want to acknowledge this. Honestly, that video he posted, it gave me chills because this guy absolutely bled blue. He loved this club, and it's unfortunate that it didn't work out from under Enzo Maresca, right? And we know that things move on, but he's been an elite professional. Everything he says, everything he put, the highlight reels, he was talking about how the memories he made with Chelsea to go and win the Champions League. You've had Reece James, Chukwuemeka, a load of other players, I think Chalobah as well, responding back to this message saying, how much it meant to them, how much they've got a bond and they're friends for life. And it's just really nice to see, especially with the summer window of how some of these players have forced moves and it's ended a bit nasty in some ways as well. It's just really nice to see. It's refreshing. Chilwell went through a lot. He does a lot for charity as well recently. He's donated a lot more money. He does a lot of things behind the scenes. And I know a lot of footballers do. But it's just really refreshing to see someone like Chilwell sort of give his love and admiration for Chelsea when you think about the last season where he's been frozen out. He was sent on loan. He's come back. He's still not part of the project. He's now been sold to Strasbourg, which I know is a sister company. But again, he's no longer part of Chelsea specifically. He's just been an elite professional through the whole thing. He's never moaned. He's put his head down. He's worked hard. And ultimately, he's part of Chelsea's history forever. That season where we went on to win the Champions League, the Super Cup, he was an integral part of that under Thomas Tuchel. His link up with Reece James on the left and right hand side, it was unbelievable. He was so good. So it's just really nice to see this. It was really heartwarming, very wholesome. It was like, oh my God, thank you so much for your service, Chilwell. He has been an incredible professional for us. So big love to Chilwell. If you haven't seen it, please go and check it out on Instagram. I mean, you probably have seen it, but I just wanted to address it because we need to give Chilwell his flowers and his love. I know that he hasn't been part of Chelsea's project for the last season, and I get that, but honestly, seeing that made me feel so warm inside as a Chelsea fan of that's amazing. Considering how the club have treated him and, your views on that, and fair enough. The fact that he has so much love for the fans, the staff, just everything involving Chelsea Football Club. It's just, mate, true blue. Let me know your thoughts below about Ben Chilwell. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Let's just give some flowers to Ben Chilwell in the comments. Moving on to Joao Pedro. This is Joao Pedro hour. Chelsea have announced that Joao Pedro shortlisted for the Premier League Player of the Month for August. And to be honest, it's very, very tough to not give it to him for August. He's been fantastic since signing for Chelsea in the Club World Cup and throughout August as well. The only other hard contender, is Caicedo, which is a bit of a cheat code because Caicedo is just consistently at this level. So you kind of feel like Caicedo should be getting it because of how good he is. However, Joao Pedro has been incredible. So we have an interview with him where he talks about so many things. Let's go through it. Mr. Dom Smith has reported what Joao Pedro said on the Champions League, and he said, "When I was at Brighton, I told my agent I wanted to play in the Champions League. I'm very excited for that with Chelsea." He then goes on to talk about Chelsea's chances on the Premier League title, and he said, "It's too early to say whether we're going to win it or not, but if you watch us, you'll say we have a good chance," and I agree. I love Joao Pedro's mentality. Ever since he's come in, he works hard, he gets his nut down, he gets stuck in, he's scoring goals, he's providing assists. He has an elite mentality. This was a player that was ready to step up to a big club. Not saying that Brighton aren't, but there's disparities and there is a difference between being at Brighton and being at a club like Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, etc. He is born and bred for Chelsea Football Club, and that's the only thing I can say. He's hit the ground running, and hopefully his form continues. I genuinely feel like he has the potential to go on and do unbelievable bits for Chelsea. He's just one of those players where we questioned the transfer and thought, this is a bit left field. Why are we doing this? And then as soon as he kicked the ball in Chelsea shirt, we went, that's why. Unbelievable signing. And this guy's just been frightening. And I love the way that he's like, look, it's too early to say about the Premier League. It's been 3 games. However, if you watch us, you'll say, yeah, they can do it. And I love that because he's not downplaying it at all. And he's not going out there and putting his neck on the line saying, we are going to win it this season. But what he is saying is, you have to be careful. Because if you watch us, you'll think, actually, yeah, these guys can do it. And I still think we have a very strong chance of going very, very far in the title race this season for sure. Whether we win it or not, no one really knows what's going to happen, right? But I also like what he's saying about the Champions League. I told my agent, I want the big games, and this is going to be a big game player. He is already establishing himself as a big game player for Chelsea. When we've needed a goal, when we needed that moment of magic, he's been there already. Club World Cup, coming through, bang, bang, bang. In the Premier League, already setting the world alight in terms of what he's doing, providing assists and goals as well. He is such a good player, and everyone's saying he's an R9 reincarnate, and you know what? I'm feeding that propaganda, man. This guy's unbelievable. He's only been here a little while, he's very quickly becoming one of my favourite players because the way he handles himself in press, the elite mindset, and what he's doing on the pitch. He then goes on to talk about the Ballon d'Or, and he said it would be a dream one day to win the Ballon d'Or. I believe in myself. Everything is possible. Maybe it can happen. And this just feeds into the way he thinks about football, the way he thinks about his career. And look, he's a young Brazilian that's already doing very, very well in the Premier League with the experience at Brighton, the experience at Watford when he was on loan, now coming to Chelsea, really taking things to the next level so far. Mate, he could be a Ballon d'Or contender. He could be one of those ones up there with Cole Palmer, who's also in talks of nominations and where they're going to rank year on year. Obviously, I don't think he's going to go win a Ballon d'Or this year, but you never know. Anything can happen in football. I honestly think that is something that's on his credentials of potentially happening within his football career for sure. Joao Pedro then speaks on the Golden Boot race. He said, big clubs from England have bought the top strikers from Europe this summer. It will be interesting to compete with them for the Golden Boot. Oh, I love this. Everything he says, I don't know. I just love everything he says. I love everything about him. I'm going to be honest. Becoming a Joao Pedro fanboy. And rightly so, man, because he's doing all the right things. And again, things like this is like, look, everyone else bought huge strikers. Isak's gone to Liverpool. You've got like Hugo Ekiteke's gone across to Liverpool. There's loads of strikers that have made moves this summer. And I feel like Joao Pedro isn't known as an out-and-out number 9 because of his versatility. He can play as a 9. We can see that already. He plays very good in the 10. We've seen that already. And he can play off that left-hand side and kind of double up as that support striker in certain scenarios in the final third. I don't think people are going to look at him and go, Golden Boot contendee. Maybe Chelsea fans, I honestly think that he's going to bag loads of goals in this Chelsea shirt because of the service we can provide, the technical skills that he's got, and what he's already showcased very early on in the season and through the Club World Cup. This guy, like I said, hit the ground running. If he can continue this momentum, continue this confidence, we want to put him on the highest sort of mountain of confidence to keep this all season because there's a lot of pressure on him now with the injury of Delap, etc., and the rotation that's going to happen and where he can play. But I feel like he can definitely take it on his shoulders based on what he's saying and his mindset. I honestly believe that. I think he's just one of them players that comes through the door every now and then that you go, yeah, he's got it. No one looked at it and that transfer and went, oh, we kind of went, But we, like I said, he starts playing and we go, yep, that's the guy. That's the guy that Chelsea have been missing. That's the missing puzzle piece. He is the one that can turn nothing into something like Cole Palmer, but not relying solely on Cole Palmer, having that other option, linking up with everyone as well, already being there such a short period of time. But I love this. I honestly think he could be in the race for the Golden Boot. Obviously, you've got the robots like Haaland, and you've got Isak, who's going to score a mountain of goals. Hugo Ekiteke started the season very well. There's a lot of other strikers that are, going to get. Chris Wood last season absolutely blew it away, and he's going to be up there as well this season. So it will be interesting to see where he fares against that because, like I said, he's not just going to play as an out-and-out 9. He's going to play as a 9, as a 10, and off the left coming inside. So he's not an out-and-out 9 like everyone else. I honestly feel like he can go up there and compete. I really, really do. The type of players that we've got, the service he's going to be getting, the sort of chances he can take from himself in terms of taking a half chance and scoring from, how clinical he is when he gets his opportunities, which is something that Chelsea have severely lacked for many seasons, other than the likes of Cole Palmer when he gets his chance and takes it, etc. But yeah, I fully back this. And I want to know what you guys think down below regarding the Golden Boot race. Who do you think is going to get the Golden Boot? Do you think it's going to be Joao Pedro? Do you think it's going to be someone like Haaland, like it has been for many seasons? Someone like Salah, who always puts up really, really good numbers. Isak, now he's at Liverpool. Where do you think that Joao Pedro will finish in the Golden Boot? Let me know in the comments, because I'm very curious to know what you guys think. I'm going to say that he actually gets top 3. I don't know why. I've got a funny feeling he gets top 3 in the Golden Boot. Whether or not he wins it, different story. Second or third, I can honestly see him being in and amongst that, the way that he's playing so far. Joao Pedro then talks about the chemistry with Cole Palmer, and he says he knows I can help him and I know he can help me. We have good chemistry on the pitch. I think he feels the same. Together, we can win more titles for Chelsea. He goes on to say that Cole is a superstar. When I came to Chelsea, I was a little bit scared about how he was going to react because I was the main guy at Brighton. I knew Chelsea would be different. I said, Cole, I'm here to help you. Again, this guy just says the right things over and over, and he's integrated himself into this team, and there already seems to be that telepathic sort of wavelength that Cole Palmer and Joao Pedro are on. You can see the link up when they're playing. Unfortunately, Palmer's injured at the moment, but when he comes back, honestly, it's just going to change so much. And Joao Pedro is linking up with a lot of players, even people like Esteval coming in and already looking like they're on the same wavelength for some of the players. Yes, it's going to take a bit of time to gel, but Joao Pedro, like I said, he's got Prem experience. He's played at Brighton. He's now at Chelsea with like a completely different level of players in terms of technicalities and skill sets and play styles. He's hit the ground running, and I love this. I love that he was like, look, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm here to help you. I'm here to take your shine. I'm here to help you. And again, it's that elite mentality. We're a team. We're a unit. We're growing together. I want to be more clinical. I want to provide you with assists. I want you to be able to assist me. Like, we work in tandem. I absolutely love that. So let me know your overall thoughts of Joao Pedro. What would you rate him out of 10 so far in his Chelsea career from Club World Cup to now? Should he get August Player of the Month? What are your views and opinions on what he said in this interview? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We are going to be talking about the Champions League squad and how that's been submitted, but just quickly, Chelsea have announced that Garnacho will wear the number 49 shirt. And this is a picture of it being printed, I'm assuming at the Mega Store, right? Because there wasn't a media one that I could get hold of. But it's quite interesting. 49 is the number that he wore for the first 2 seasons at Manchester United. I don't know what the sort of connection is with number 49. It could just be a number. It doesn't have to be that deep. I get it. Some people are like, yes, dude, it's just a number. But for some players, it means something. There's a bit of significance to it. I don't know what that is, but if you know what that is, if you've said that and mentioned it before, let me know in the comments. But what are your thoughts? 49 is a bit of a wild number in terms of what we're used to seeing. You starting 11. I know Esteval's got 41, which again just seems a bit high and wide in terms of like numbers that he should have in playing in the roles that he does. But hey, Garnacho's number 49. But let's talk about the Champions League squad and the breakdown of the UEFA settlement. Chelsea's Champions League squad is as follows: Sanchez, Jorgensen, Cucurella, Tosin, Badiashile, Colwell, Hatto, Chalobah, James, Gusto, Fofana, Fernandes, Palmer, Gittins, Asugo, Santos, Caicedo, Neto, Delap, Joao Pedro, Guiu, Esteval, and Garnacho. Chelsea then announced the confirmed B-list additions of Ashimpong, Tariq George, Romeo Lavia, and they go on to say what is a B-list. Clubs are entitled to register an unlimited number of players on List B during the season if they are born on or after January 1st, 2003 and are eligible. To be eligible, a player from List B, the squad member must be born on or after January 2004 and has, since his 15th birthday, been eligible to play for the club concerned for any uninterrupted period for 2 years, or a total of 3 consecutive years with a maximum of 1 loan period to a club from the same association for a period not longer than 1 year. A lot of extra words they put in these sort of things, but essentially, yeah, these players are eligible because of the time frame and etc. like that. Very interesting to know what your guys' thoughts are on the Champions League squad that's been confirmed, because a lot of people have said already online, like, Colwell's in there, but he's injured for most of the season. Buonanote's not in there, right? We just signed him. I feel sorry for him a little bit because he came out and said, I can't wait to play Champions League football, and then the squad was announced and he's not in it. It's all down to like UEFA squad sort of slots and loans and having a profitable sort of transfer window, which is different to PSR and FIFA rules. It's something that Chelsea haven't really managed to find a loophole for, but we have some good news regarding the squad list that was submitted to UEFA. Kieran Gill had reported that UEFA have approved Chelsea's squad submission in line with the agreement. The statement was, the squad list submitted fulfilled in the criteria of the settlement agreement, and it was therefore already reviewed and approved before publication on UEFA's website. This is huge news for Chelsea because, like I just said, the UEFA loopholes, Chelsea can't seem to find one. It seems watertight. You have to abide by their rules. There's no playing around it. It's like literally you have to have a positive net spend on terms of like squads that come in. It's really, really sticky and techy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm an expert at it. I've read a lot about it. Still don't fully understand it. If you guys do, let me know. We've had some conversations over the summer regarding it. But essentially, it put Chelsea in the transfer window at a bit of a hindrance, which is why the likes of the Xavi Simons deal and the Garnacho deal took so long. Yes, it was stretched out, but Chelsea wanted these players, and that's why we probably didn't go for Simons returns because of the whole UEFA regulations that we were trying to balance. Now, we had an incredible selling window. We broke a record in terms of over 300 million in player sales. And again, that gets offset with net spend, etc. We've done very well considering, but it was mainly to appease the UEFA rules. And in terms of the registrations that were remaining in slots, which is why we had the Nkunku and Jackson needed to go out to then have 2 more come in of Xavi Simons and Garnacho. We know how the Simons deal went, but that was kind of why we were kind of put the brakes on because of the UEFA settlements and the regulations, and we had to make sure that we could get the entire squad that we wanted booked and played and registered for the UEFA competitions. So I know that there's, A-list and B-list, and again, I know I went through that. It seems very, very wordy, if I'm being honest. And I'm not a guy that goes through words that well and fully digests them. I need to be dumbed down like a 5-year-old. I'm going to be honest. It just is what it is. But this is very, very good news because I feel like it's something that's overlooked over our summer window, that Chelsea actually started essentially in the red. And we had to, use this window to improve in key areas, which I feel like we have, and also offload a lot of players. And the fact that we only have a couple players, I think it's 3, which is Disasi, Disasi, Sterling, and I think there's one more I may be forgetting off the top of my head that is kind of in this bomb squad that people want to stop using, and I totally agree. We'll talk about that in just a second. We were basically off. Not to a bad start, but we were up an uphill battle and we managed to get over it and get everything done. This is a huge win for Chelsea because there would have been nothing more infuriating as a fan of going through this window, offloading all these players and then still not being able to register the likes of Joao Pedro or Garnacho or Gittins or anyone else for the UEFA Champions League. Imagine that. It would be like, well, why have we signed them then if we can't even play them? So this is something that's kind of gone under the radar. It's been spoken about a little bit here and there by a lot of creators and big publications. But the good news is, the Chelsea squad that's been submitted is all ticked and signed off, and the only player, unfortunately, that doesn't make the cut is Facundo Buonanotte. So I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if there's a technicality there. Potentially there is. It looks like Chelsea hasn't fully filled the roster either. I think there's a couple of spaces left, and I feel that's because as of January, you're allowed to add, I think it's up to 3 or 4 different players. There's something about the slots, and we've left a couple spare, essentially. So I know that Colwell's been added, and he's got that ACL injury, but you might as well chuck him in, because it fills a slot and we still got some spare for later on in the season if we need to add it. Very much like the Conference League, where we didn't have Cole Palmer and a lot of other players at the start of the season, but then in January when we got to the knockouts, we then added them in. Very, very similar in that sense. So I'm super excited for the Champions League. Kicking off our campaign against Bayern Munich away is going to be a tasty fixture. But I would like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding the confirmed Champions League squad. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about Chelsea in the Champions League? Are you excited? Do you think we're going to do well? Do you fully understand the whole B-list, A-list? Because if you do, please let me know your thoughts about it in the comments and educate me. I'm very open and honest to say that I don't know too much about it. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to sit here and say I am. But are you happy that Chelsea managed to get the tick box from UEFA to make sure we've not broken any regulations, and that means that we can then do more transfers like this in the future and have a better Champions League squad every time that we compete? Lloyd Canfield has reported the extent of the bomb squad isolations includes to have using a separate toilet, a different changing room, and not being allowed to eat with any first team members. The remaining bomb squad members are Sterling, Disasi, and David Fofana. First, shout out to Lloyd. I've spoken to this guy a couple of times. He follows me on TikTok. What a guy. Congratulations as well. He got like the official nod to be a Chelsea journalist, which is amazing. So congratulations to you. Wish you all the best. Secondly, I just want to touch on this whole bomb squad thing because a lot of you guys have said we should stop using it. And do you know what? I totally agree. I honestly think that when we get rid of these players of Sterling, Disasi, David Fofana, I'm a bit confused and conflicted because we've recalled him. He's part of the squad. Obviously not the Champions League squad, but we can use him this season. But he's already considered part of the bomb squad. Find that very strange. But regardless, I feel like when we get rid of these 3 players, we should completely drop the term. Permanently get rid of it. It's so degrading. It's disrespectful. And I feel like it was a term used because we had so many players, but we've done incredibly well to offload them. And I feel like we should just be getting rid of that term once these players are gone. And draw a line on the sand and move on from it, if I'm being brutally honest. So I just wanted to touch on that, kind of give my thoughts on the whole bomb squad thing, because I totally agree with what a lot of you guys are saying. I think it's just a term that's thrown around, and I think it's a bit disrespectful. Also, I'm not really sure how I feel about using separate toilets, different changing rooms, and not being allowed to eat with first teamers. Like proper exiled from the first team. I get different training times because they're not involved with the first team project. That makes sense. That's not like anything that's out of the ordinary. We're not eating with them and using different toilets. It's a bit strange, in my opinion. I think it's a bit weird, if I'm being honest. Surely they should be able to mingle at least a little bit. But I suppose football is a very cutthroat business, and it's all about, there's a lot of money involved. They want trophies. There's different ambitions, so maybe they just want it cut and dry. You guys do your thing over here. We're doing this, and we don't want any sort of entanglement. I don't know, but let me know your thoughts and opinions, because I didn't know it went as separate as this. I knew different training times and maybe different change of rooms. Yeah, fair enough. But not being able to use a toilet or even eating with the squad, I think is a bit too far. But very curious to know your thoughts down below regarding the whole bomb squad status. UOL have reported that Andrey Santos rejected a Saudi proposal in the summer, which we spoke about in yesterday's video. However, Santos refused the base salary of £6.9 million per year, which is around 5 times more than what he currently receives at Chelsea. Now, this screams bleeds blue. This screams, I want the best in my career. Because Saudi Arabia and their football and the money that they can pump in is a very lucrative and very drawing in type, I can't think of the word, but drawing in type of incentive. It's incentivized, right, for a lot of players to go, I can go make generational wealth for a few seasons, and if I'm young enough, I could probably come back. And I really like the fact that players like Santos have gone, nah, I'm at Chelsea. I want to stay at Chelsea. This is where my career is going to develop. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm part of the first team project. I'm locked in. I'm going to be here and win stuff. I absolutely love that. And we know that he obviously rejected the offer, and we spoke about it yesterday in a little bit of detail. But I didn't know that that's the wages that we were offering. So I know it doesn't sound lucrative. That's not like 14, 15 million a year. But he's a young player that's being offered 5 times his salary currently received at Chelsea. And he still said, nah, I'm all right. I want to stay here. Best league in the world. Best team in London. The team with the most potential and the most exciting right now with this young squad that he is heavily a part of. I still think that Andrey Santos is really knocking on the door for a first team start with Enzo Fernandez currently. Obviously that can change. But I'm very excited to see what happens with that sort of first team battle position between those two, because they're essentially rotation for each other, right? Similar style players with very little differences, but box to box crashes, that type of thing. So yeah, I just thought it was very curious, very interesting to kind of put that across, because I didn't know it was 6.9 million. And again, for a kid that age, that's a lot of money. It's astronomical wealth. It's 5 times what you're currently receiving. So it takes a strong character to turn that type of money down and also have your priorities straight in terms of, I want the best football, I want the best for my career, because it makes sense for players later in their career to secure the bag before they retire. Why wouldn't you? And I feel like Saudi over the last 5 years really have attracted some of the best players in the world at the sort of tipping point of their careers, you know, like Kante's and Benzema's, and obviously you've got Ronaldo there, you've got like Joao Felix, you've got like Brozovic. There's loads of players there that are just really good and are going to improve the Saudi league, and I feel like they're going to continue to do so, and I feel like they're going to rise through the ranks of not top 5 leagues, but they're going to be up and sniffing around that for sure. There are already debates whether it's better than the MLS. I ain't getting involved in that. I'm just saying that the way that Saudi are going and what they can offer, it does seem more and more appealing as time goes on, because there is more of a collection of players there that there's kind of recognisable, have got legacies and careers, and players are going, they're younger. We had, was it John Duran? And then you've also had like Ivan Toney, etc. So they're attracting a lot. So I think it takes a lot of character for someone like Andrey Santos, with a young, promising career, to just say no to money and keep himself focused. But I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Would you take 5 times the salary to then move to Saudi for potentially a few years, secure generational wealth, and then come back to the Premier League? Or do you think Andrey Santos has his head screwed on and he made the right decision? Miguel Delaney has reported that Manchester United are considering making a January move for Romeo Lavia from Chelsea after failing with an ambitious approach to sign Carlos Balaba this summer. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if I got that wrong. I find this very, very interesting, and I want to have a genuine conversation with you guys in the comments about Romeo Lavia, because there is a lot of conflicting opinions within our fan base. I understand how frustrating it is that he's very injury prone right now. I also admire and appreciate how good he is when he's fit. And I understand that Maresca's done everything he can to wrap him in bubble wrap and keep him playing as long as possible. And even still, he's still getting reoccurring injuries. One thing I will say is I do genuinely believe that he's young enough to get over this hurdle of long-term injuries, and there's a chance that he can come back and then become very, very fit. We've seen it with players like Pedro Neto. He was considered injury prone when we bought him. Under Maresca, he's only missed a handful of games, 3, 4 maybe. He's played like over 50 games, and for an injury prone player, that's a big, big difference. And it goes to show that injuries can be temporary. And also Chelsea are just used to, and fans are used to, just having players with long-term injuries or being injury prone. Badiashile, Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Lavia's added to that list. We're just used to them being injured at some point during the season. Reece James has been on the fittest period of time for many, many seasons under Maresca. Props to him and the medical staff, and obviously for Reece for keeping fit. Chilwell was obviously one of those as well, had these reoccurring injuries over time. It was always like Reece James and Chilwell, one or the other, or sometimes both at the same time. us fans have been conditioned to be like, yeah, it kind of is what it is. And I understand the frustrations, but I genuinely feel like Romeo Lavia is such a good player that he can, and he's young enough to get over this hurdle and be a very, very good player for Chelsea. So I want to ask you the question, and I want you to think, would you sell Romeo Lavia in January? I personally wouldn't. I think it would be foolish to sell Romeo Lavia in January. I still think he's part of the recovery. He's still part of that long-term project. And I feel like he's going to be an integral part of that midfield. Because imagine adding Lavia into what we've got with Santos, Asugo, Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo. That's incredible when it comes to squad depth, in terms of ability, in terms of the dynamism that we can have with Enzo Maresca's system, competing across all competitions for the longest period. I think it makes perfect sense. Even without Lavia, we're still very strong. But you add Lavia in that, unbelievable. And yes, I believe it gives Lavia a bit more leeway because there's less reliance on him. Last season, it was Caicedo, Enzo, and whenever Lavia was fit, chuck him in. Try and keep him fit, but chuck him in, because Enzo and Caicedo need a break. This season, it's very, very different. There's less pressure on Lavia to come back and stay fit. He can do it in his own time and his own pace. I undoubtedly deny his ability. He's a fantastic player. So I'm just curious to know what you guys think. And do you think he would go to Manchester United? How much would you sell Lavia for, considering his injury record? Would you then go, we bought him for what, 45 million? Would you still look to make a profit on him? Can we make a profit on him if he's been so injured, since the move? I honestly think that Chelsea would be doing him a disservice, and it would also be just a bit of a waste, because I genuinely think, what is he, 21, 22? Something like that, with the ability he's got. I think, he gets over these injury hurdles, stays fit for a long period, and all of a sudden he's a world beater. I genuinely think that. And yeah, I just think that Chelsea would be stupid to sell him, especially in January, to Man United. But I'm not surprised that Manchester United are looking and sniffing around. Obviously, it was a race between Liverpool and us to sign him in the first place. A lot of big clubs want him. He's a fantastic player. But with United and the way they move in the transfer window, and obviously losing out on Carlos Balaba this summer, it makes sense they're going to pivot to another 6 or someone that could play that role. Surprised that Lavia is on the radar, but at the same time, I'm not, because of how good he is. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, and genuinely have a conversation around Romeo Lavia. Should he stay at Chelsea? Is this his last season to prove his fitness, or would you offload him because he never stays fit? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that. You're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too. I also want to say right at the end of this video, thank you so much for all the love and support that you guys have been giving me recently. It really does mean a lot. You guys are real ones, and I absolutely love this community.